That's it. Let's call. Want to lead us?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Governor,
I am here.
hey, Jonathan.
Here.
Commissioner.
Here.
Perfect. Nathan, you guys are.
Morning, Commission. We have one order, spacing in order that let's go through and an update case in an order that came before the Commission a few months ago. So with that, then a director's update after that. So with that, I'll turn it over to Mark to go through an EOG spacing.
Morning.
Morning.
Order we have before you was from a hearing that occurred on April 23rd of 2026. The application by EOG Resources for a 1,280 acre space unit and a 1,600 acre space unit in a partial field. Order number 35705 was issued on June 2nd, granting the request relief, establishing 13 of the 4 stand-up 1,200 acre space unit. What we granted a 1,200 acre space unit described as the north half of section 13, section 19, and the west half of section 18 in place of the requested 1,600 space unit. Finding that establishing a space unit that includes a portion of a section not penetrated or otherwise affected, farming the horizontal well path does not protect the relevant rights and would still allow EOG to drill the proposed horizontal well. EOG filed a petition for consideration on June 16th on the following grounds. They said that the well will penetrate the south half of section 13 and excluding the south half of 13 proposed space unit will prevent them from drilling a proposed horizontal well, resulting in waste. With their petition for reconsideration, they supplied a new development plan. Go to the next slide. The first plan they presented to us is for that lime green well up in the north side and of that space, the 1,600 acre space unit. And it does not penetrate the south half of section 13, so that's why they excluded the south half of 13. And if you go to the next slide, they supplied a new well path. It's that blue line now, and you can see that it does cut through the southeast corner of section 13. So the evidence they presented is relevant and material, and the petition did not request a rehearing. They wanted it based on the evidence already presented. So we believe the petition should be granted in order for ways to protect all rights. So we're requesting that you approve an order granting the petition reconsideration, vacating the previous order, and establishing the 1,600 acre space unit as originally proposed.
So, all right, for the purpose of discussion, I'll move that.
Second.
So, looking at the proposed drilling information, is there any fields that are being isolated or could actually fall under waste when we have 1,250 feet foot distance there?
No,
Is there going to be enough communication?
yeah, the dashed red lines are wells proposed on different spacing units.
Okay.
And you can see that very faintly, there's a well in the west half of section 18 already. There's a well in section 19. There's a well in section 24. There's a well in section 13. This is part of EOG's ongoing efforts in the partial field to go back and fill in some of the gaps.
Okay.
And this is on the very eastern edge, so we're getting towards the limit of the Bakken over here. But they've been actually fairly active over here recently, drilling some longer horizontal wells. This is just a continuation of that effort.
So, and that's good. The east half, and I know it's not part of our discussion, but the east half of 18, is there anything happening with that? That looks isolated.
Right now, that's the eastern edge. And with the longer horizontal wells, they will push that a little further to the east,
Okay,
but this is on the edge right now.
it's not in the proposal, but, all right,
Expand the field with infill drilling.
good enough.
Mark said, I would imagine with 3 and 4 mile laterals, maybe 5, though, that boundary a little bit to the east.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay,
Eventually it ends.
Yeah, actually,
yeah.
in the thermal maturity line.
Any other discussion?
No, thank you.
Roll call.
Commissioner,
Yes,
General,
Yes.
Governor,
Yes.
Then we have an update to a order that you guys signed a while back, and the petition for consideration. The case was contested. It was between Continental and Phoenix, and Mark's going to give a quick update on that as well.
There's nothing in your packet, but we just wanted to give you an update. Originally Continental had applied for 2 stand-up 2568 space units, and Phoenix had applied for an increased density on a 1280 that was half of the South 2560 that Continental presented. You entered order number 34860 on November 25th, which denied Continental's application to establish the 2 2560s. And on the same day, you issued order number 35034, which approved Phoenix's request for increased density in that 1280. Excuse me, Continental filed a petition reconsideration December 10th. Then January 6, 2026, you issued order number 3548, which granted Continental's petition for reconsideration, dissolved the previous orders, and set it for a rehearing and reissuance of final orders following the rehearing. A little in between, then Continental filed a request on January 7th, so one day after the order was entered, requesting a pre-hearing conference to identify and simplify the issues, identify witnesses and exhibits, and stipulate to material facts. The request indicated the parties should be able to address procedures for discovery and dispositive motion, so the hearing could proceed efficiently without unnecessary delay. Subsequent to that, Continental filed a notice on February 5th, 2026, indicating the proposed discovery timeline did not provide adequate opportunity to conduct the discovery they had planned, and therefore they do not believe the rehearing will serve its intended purpose of providing the commission with relevant information, and withdrew its request for a pre-hearing conference and asked that the commission proceed issuing an order based on the existing record. Phoenix also filed a letter on February 11th, agreeing with Continental that there was not a need for a rehearing conference or a rehearing, that the commission proceed with issuing an order based on the existing record. We held the rehearing on February 27th, 2026. Counsel for both Continental and Phoenix appeared at the hearing, but neither offered any additional evidence. And then on June 15th, Continental filed a letter indicating it and Phoenix have reached a resolution of the issues in these 2 cases, and they request dismissal of its case 32-171, which was 2 stand-up 2560s, withdrew its opposition. The other case for Phoenix's increased density well, they indicated that the request for reconsideration dismissed. So in essence, nothing, they withdrew their one application for the 2 2560s, withdrew their opposition, like nothing happens. And so we're going to issue, we're dismissing Continental's application and reissue the order for Phoenix for the increased density on the 12. If nothing had happened, there will be a summary of what happened in there, so people in the future see what happened, but it's really a non-issue at this point.
They went away and settled it. That's the way it's supposed to work. Worked well. Okay. So on the other business update, the rig count in the state is steady at 26. We do expect a slight increase over the next couple months. There's 12 frac crews. Total U.S. rig count is up just a little bit, mostly in the Permian. Oil production was essentially flat, went down just a little bit in April from March. Still long lateral trend continues. 63% of the wells are greater than 2 miles. Strong North Dakota tax price in April at over $92 a barrel. And moving on to the geological survey, effective July 1st, Dr. Clint Boyd takes over the leadership role of the state geologist, along with the assistant state geologist Fred Anderson, following the retirement of Ed Murphy in 2 days. So I'd like to introduce Clint Boyd. We're excited for his leadership, and he's got many years with the agency already, and has built a great deal of respect amongst the peer group. So we're excited to bring Clint in the leadership role, geological survey. So
Clint will do well as long as he brings fossils.
Fossils.
Every meeting.
Pressure's
The
on.
Attorney General really would like to,
one of those big.
The interesting part of every one of these meetings, and that burden now falls to you.
I don't have quite the depth of stories, but I'll build those over time.
just keep them short.
So we're having a little going away gathering Ed here in a couple of days that he tried to get out of, and told him it's not a choice.
It's
He's got
required.
to show up. Yeah. And with that, that's what we have.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
There, Mark.
Brandon.
Happy 4th.
Hey,
What?
Good morning.
Hi, team.
Let's talk affordable housing.
Said you
Oh,
want to
that's
keep this
fair.
really short.
Yeah, that's.
That's a word.
Because if you change the bird, then it means something different.
I guess I'm first, huh?
You are.
Okay. Well, the first item that I have for you is actually part of the second item as well. So when we look to issue multifamily bonds, we first have to start with an intent resolution, and that's the report that's being provided to you. And then, once they make movement towards having substantial documents, then I can present to you the authorization, which is the second item here. So I will go into the second item, which requires your action. So the agency recommends that the Industrial Commission approve the issuance of the multifamily tax exempt revenue bond in the amount not to exceed $47.5 million. And this is for a project called Central at Horizon, which is a new construction, 262 units of general occupancy going up in the downtown Fargo area. The developer is Annex Group, and the borrower will be the Central at Horizon Limited Partnership. Because they are accessing multifamily bonds, they will also be awarded a 4% low-income housing tax credit, which is the non-competitive low-income housing tax credits, about $4.3 million. The total cost of this project is about $101 million. And the transaction will be bonds that will be collateralized by a taxable construction mortgage from Citibank. Once that project is completed, the construction loan will then convert into permanent financing, which Citibank will hold the bonds permanently for the 30-year issuance. The operative document that you are approving is a bond resolution. And then also included is a trust indenture, financing agreement, a funding loan agreement, a borrower loan agreement, and a bond regulatory agreement. So with the authorization, what you will be doing is authorizing these documents, which are in their substantial form, meaning that they shouldn't change much more than maybe a date and a few other nitpicky items, but otherwise it is, the amount is set and all of that is ready to go. And the formation of the transaction is pretty much ready to go. And so you will be authorizing Brandon to execute those documents at closing.
Is this a replacement?
It's vacant lot right now.
Yeah, that's what it
Yep.
is. When I looked at it, I'm like,
Yep, it is a vacant lot.
And Mr. members, we did include a map,
I saw
the
that.
location. This is the last page of attachment.
I moved the Motion.
second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Commissioner,
Yes.
Attorney General.
Yes.
Governor.
Yes.
I do have 3 copies of the signature page of the resolution. And one thing.
All right. Well, today providing an update on 2026 employment and acquisition limits for our first home and down payment and closing costs. As you may recall, last meeting, the industrial commission approved a resolution delegating authority to North Dakota Housing Board to approve annual and income acquisition cost limits with the requirement that any food changes be reported back to the industrial commission. The board has since approved our 2026 limits, which went into effect on June 15th. Income and acquisition limits are set by the IRS due to our brokerage revenue bond regulations. So starting first with the income limits for 2026, the maximum allowable first home income limits established under federal guidelines range from $1,000 to $146,855, which was dependent on county and household size. For households of less than 3, North Dakota Housing income limits increased this year from $93,500 to $105,730 statewide. And for households of 3 or more, the limits increased from $110,000 to $121,590. There are increases of more than 10%. While the federal guidelines would allow for higher income limits, North Dakota Housing recommended and the board approved amounts below the maximum allowable thresholds due to continued concerns on staffing capacity and bond cap. We believe that the newly imposed limits strike the balance between expanding access to our programs and still responsibly managing that program volume. And then we'll continue to monitor production levels and revisit limits in the future if adjustments are needed. For the down payment closing cost assistance program, which serves lower income households and offers the lowest interest rate in our programs, we approved income limits are $63,300 for Burley, Cass, McKenzie, McLean, Morton, and Oliver counties, and $60,000 for all other counties. Those limits increased from $62,900 and $56,860 respectively in 2025. Based on lender feedback, I will be evaluating breaking these out more into county specific limits over the next month versus being so grouped. The difference between counties is generally only a couple $1,000s, but in this income bracket, that can make a big difference for somebody to get into that lowest interest rate and be able to afford something. And then lastly, moving on to our acquisition cost limits, we hadn't increased these in the past couple of years. For 2026, the maximum IRS allowable for one unit was $629,000. North Dakota Housing, the board set the limits at $500,000. And that's just given our income limits, most borrowers aren't going to qualify for the $629,000 anyhow. So we felt the $500,000 was appropriate.
And the maximum annual income. Is Williams County even considered in any of that? Are they part of that group or do they get a separate category?
So it is broken out by counties, but we generally group it together for the first home program. If we broke it out by county, Williams County would be one of the higher ones, but then we get into worrying about running out of bond cap and having staffing to accommodate all the production.
Yeah. Thanks for the update.
So the order we did last time allowed you to implement this on June 15th, whereas under the old system, you couldn't have done it on June 15th. You'd come in here. And now instead you're reporting to us. Because we only meet once a month and sometimes that doesn't work for you all very well.
The income limits.
We're gonna use all the cap, right? We do every year.
Yeah, it gets worse every year.
Yeah.
I mean, it's as home prices keep going up, that cap just gets. Unfortunately, they don't want to increase the cap.
And I tap into it with multifamily, so that affects the single family.
Thank you.
One thing else we have for you is, obviously, we're watching a lot of the legislation coming out of Washington. You know, the 21st Century Road to Housing Act was sent to the desk last Monday, and we're just waiting a signature or waiting for the 10 days to run out for it to become law. So, which I'm thinking that's probably what will happen, which will become Friday. So, we'll see what happens with that bill. There's a lot of great things in it, and unfortunately, to use a sports analogy that the two of these love hearing me tell all the time, it's kind of like the NFL draft, right? People get excited when they draft a certain player. I don't get excited until I see him actually play on the field. So there's a lot of regulations and writing of issues and notices and guidance that's going to go into a lot of this stuff. So it's not going to be quick. So we'll see what happens. Perfect. We're optimistic. Other than that, the House Housing and Insurance Subcommittee introduced the Build Housing Affordable Act, June 15th. It has to deal with BABA, Build America, Buy America, which is becoming an issue for a lot of our affordable housing projects. That will be exempting a lot of those affordable housing projects from BABA. So we'll see if that gains some traction. There seems like there's a lot of traction bipartisan to exempt some affordable housing for it because it's really slowing down a lot of projects. Jennifer's seeing that with a lot of her projects, and we're seeing it nationwide. So I spoke with a developer here a few weeks ago that was building a project somewhere in the United States, and they were looking for door hardware, hinges specifically. And they said they normally can get them overseas for about $50,000 for a project. The only ones they can find in the United States are made for hospitals, and they're over $300,000. So we're seeing that with light fixtures, switches, all that kind of stuff is holding. So.
And if they try to build a facility to meet the need, we regulate them to death, so they can't build it anyways. So
Right.
Can't make it.
In theory, it's a great thing, but in practicality, it's not working.
Yeah.
And that's what we have, right?
Thank you.
Have a good holiday.
Thanks.
Thanks.
You guys.
Happy Fourth.
Bring on the bankers.
Morning.
She's fine. We're not suggesting the Going up. That's the point. No, we know. Gary, I just wanted to be sure. Okay. Still a little let down, Doug. I had a bit.
Okay, we're ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm on the CEO update, non-confidential. Start out with the annual goals for 2026. Good news, we're on track with all of them. We are preparing for the upcoming legislative session with the governance framework. In July and August, we'll be bringing the expected budget, dividend recommendation, capital plan update to you guys for your good decision. The Rough Rider coin, in terms of an annual goal, remains on track. In fact, we're looking to go live with our successful transaction at our October 3rd Medora B3 conference. You'll notice Rock was off track for the quarter. That was really out with the legal negotiation. We're a little bit behind schedule. However, I'm happy to report as of today, we are back on schedule for the second quarter. So that remains well on track. Student loan software implementation is moving forward to correct our student loan handling system. The B3, the Upper Midwest, is moving forward. Traction implementation is moving well. And we are working on AI framework in two categories, productivity and risk mitigation for the bank. Q2 Company Rocks, as I mentioned, Rough Rider Coin is back on track. We are negotiating with Central Payments as a consultant on the Rough Rider Coin stablecoin project. We've got AI, the governance plan, out of state. So you can see the rocks really tie into the annual goals. So in terms of execution on our strategies for the year, we remain well on track. On the second page, we had one new initiative. We made a material restructure at the executive level. In our 4-year plan, strategic plan, talent management, that overall look at everything from attraction of talent to onboarding to retention, succession planning. We are involving that. We hired expertise there in Brenna Grossbauer, brought her on the executive team, and it was part of Lori Langang's succession coming off of the executive team. So I do want to thank Lori for her 16 years of service to the bank. She is still with us. She's still helping, but she has stepped off of the executive team and now is working with our new chief talent officer in order to affect that evolution. So a good change, but never easy when you're kind of at the tail end of your career. But Lori's been very gracious, and I do want to honor her time and her experience and her dedication to Bank of North Dakota. You can refer to the annual report under financials. I won't go through it in detail. We've talked financials a lot through the performance highlights. I would just say, notice in this annual report, we did line it up to our new core values of being North Dakota proud, having a passionate mission focus, engaging in creative solutions, being there when needed, and always showing up with purpose and integrity. I think our public affairs team did a very nice job with the annual report, focusing on those areas. So you'll see in the annual report, kind of a captive story of things like the Farm Financial Stability Program, the Furloughed Federal Employee Relief Program, our Smart With My Money program, as well as our financial results, which continue to remain very, very, very strong. Finally, into credit quality. Again, we are in a credit environment that has some heightened risk to it. We have seen that in our credit quality ratios. However, they continue to pretty much overall improve. We still do not see the second spike in credit quality deterioration. In fact, we see a slight improvement. Now you'll notice on the watch and special mention graph, which is on page 4 of the CEO update, there was a slight increase there. That's pretty much directly related to the Farm Financial Stability Program. We put on $500 million of restructured farm loans, given the disaster. And of course, a lot of those kind of come on in the watch category, which doesn't mean they're bad loans. It just means that they're a little bit higher risk and we're watching them more closely.
If they weren't, we wouldn't have had to do it.
Exactly. Thank you. Yep.
Is there that's the window for that typically? They come on and you're assessing those metrics with them all the time, or?
Yeah, we assess quarterly. I mean, there's a robust process for problem loan identification, risk rating changes, ongoing credit administration. A lot of it is on agriculture is going to be determined by what's the status of the environment they're in. Input costs are still high. Commodity prices are still fairly stagnant. So we're expecting it to continue to kind of be a stressed environment going forward into the next operating year. So we would expect them to stay in that watch category for a considerable period of time.
But land prices remain continually.
Yes.
They're unbelievably resilient.
Yes, lots of equity to work with.
Assuming 90% of the equity in this program is the dirt.
Pretty close. Yeah. We had quite a bit of chattel
Yeah.
restructure against equipment and whatnot, but a lot of this happened.
There were some good years where they paid down debt, serviced, and then updated a lot of equipment, so that helps.
Absolutely. Finally, for my part, and I'll turn it over to Kirby for a little bit more in depth on the non-accruals and how she can charge up recoveries. In terms of liquidity, again, current liquidity balance sheet is strong, very strong right now. However, again, our forecasted liquidity continues to tighten given the combination of deposits and continued growth. We are taking strategies to get as far ahead of that as we can. We've been moderating loan asset growth to the extent we can under the balanced credit decisioning. We've been moderating our investment portfolio structuring. In fact, we allowed quite a bit of our investment portfolio to run off to fund the Farm Financial Stability Program. And we're working several other deposit gathering strategies, some through the Cash Management Board, as well as some of those future items in our strategic plan moving forward. So, and in terms of policy and program approvals, all of the 2026 disaster and or stability programs we would consider concluded. I believe we're just funding our last ones, but we're not bringing more in. So for the first time I've been CEO of the organization, we don't have a current disaster or stability program.
Would you please not
I just say that.
I will. Yeah, I shouldn't have said that. I'm sorry. Okay, all right. Okay, that's what I have for non-confidential. I turn it over to Kirby to walk through some more detailed credit quality reports.
Mine would be in confidential.
Check it out.
You don't have your non.
Okay, hold on.
We got
We got consideration
consideration.
officer.
That Kirby needed top secret right away. All right.
Let's do the open stuff.
We have the approval of the Vegas Club Officer designation. And that is behind tab 8.
Okay.
This is approving Ryan McKay. If you recall, Christy Steffenhagen was our chief risk officer. She had her opportunity at Cornerstone Bank, and we were able to hire Ryan McKay. Institution brings over 25 years of experience at the highest level, engaging in enterprise risk management for community banking. He also has expertise specific to fintech, and so highly recommend him for officer designation and of our executive team.
I move the recommendation.
Second. Discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner?
Yes.
Attorney General?
Yes.
Governor?
Yes. Got advisory board meetings, March and April. You got anything else before we go?
I do not.
Howdy.
Now. Governor, I moved it on to North Dakota Century Code Section 6-09-35, 44-04-18.4, and 44-04-19.2. That the Industrial Commission enter into an executive session for the purpose of Bank of North Dakota confidential business.
Second.
Roll call.
Attorney General?
Yes.
Commissioner?
Yes.
Governor?
Yes. The commission is meeting in executive session pursuant to NDCC 609-35, 44-04-18.4, and 44-04-19.2 to discuss Bank of North Dakota confidential business. Only commission members, their staff, commission staff, and Bank of North Dakota staff will participate in this executive session. Any formal action taken by the commission will occur after it reconvenes in open session. I remind the commission members and those present in executive session that the discussion must be limited to the announced purpose. The executive session is anticipated to last about 45 minutes. 34A. Executive session has ended at 9:02 a.m. and the commission is reconvened in open session. During the Bank of North Dakota executive session, a motion was made regarding a one bank revolving line of credit. Please take the vote.
Commissioner?
Yes.
Attorney General?
Yes.
Governor?
Yes. Before you guys leave, sometime in your next two industrial commission, 2 or 3, I mean, probably when the rest of your agenda is a little less, it'd be nice to get an update on line of credits, particularly what's coming due during the session. I think that is information that, one, we will like when we're putting our budgets together. And 2, I think that would be beneficial for the legislature as they start moving forward with our act, because we know we have some of that coming. And that will affect some things. And I don't usually ask for this. There is some deck or slide or like wherever where we could maybe present that to approach chairs and or whoever else over there, so they have an idea where we're at when we're walking. So that would be nice.
Will do. I assume 50, 55 slides is good.
Sure, I have staff to look at that stuff. You make it as long as you want. But no, I mean, in all honesty, I think as we start walking into what we're doing and getting ready for a legislative session, that would be good for everybody. Yeah, including us.
Happy to provide that, Governor.
Thank you.
Thank you. So we made a slight adjustment to the agenda, so we're jumping ahead to the middle. First, we'll come back to PFA. So right now we are at attachment 27.
Yes.
The Liberty, assuming you guys want to see that.
Good morning.
Last one.
It is.
All right.
It is. Last industrial commission meeting. I wanted to start with congratulating Kathy. I think he's a great choice. President.
Very big shoes to fill.
We'll be in great hands going forward. And I feel really good about that. And I also wanted to say thanks to you guys for all the support and friendship and on throughout the years. You know, it's been really good 26 years. And the last few have been really special. So I just wanted to say thanks for that.
So I was down in Grand Forks anyway, so I got there. So I had to do the math in my head. You overlapped with Governor Schaefer for about 6 months.
I did. Mhm.
It's a lot of governors.
No, it's been a few, yeah. Each governor has been a new adventure, I guess I can say that. Actually started with like an 18-day trip to China and some other countries and a trade mission trip with Governor Schaefer. I think I did that within my first month or two after starting. So
Oh, geez.
I started out with a bang and
To China?
yeah, one of the original, I think we were the first trade mission to China after they signed some of the agreements.
Yeah.
So it's pretty interesting, pretty fun. Yeah. Learned a lot. Our first item is just the memorandum to approve our transfers for this year. 50% to the general fund and 5% to Ag Puck. So I'm not sure if we get a vote on that or.
Yeah,
You.
I move the recommendation.
Second.
Discussion.
We're doing as the law states.
Do you want to comment on the timing of it?
Just for your guys' knowledge, the timing will be, we plan to close our books on July 22nd. And we'll make the transfer the morning of your meeting, on your next industrial commission meeting on the 23rd. So, and then I will see you on that day.
Roll call.
Commissioner?
Yes.
Attorney General?
Yes.
Governor?
Yes.
It's Jeff.
Everybody's favorite subject, HVAC.
Yeah, we had a project that's been approved for a while to redo the HVAC in the North Dakota Mill office. We thought we had a good number there. Just put it out for bid, and the total we came up with 2.2 million, counting everything we think it would take to redo the HVAC there. So, I think we're going to pull back on the HVAC idea and look at something different going forward. I'll let Kathy talk about that.
Yeah, after receiving the bids of about 2.1 million, that's completely upsizing the system that's in there because it's size too small. Then which would also include having to redo the electrical, which much of that is very antiquated, as you can expect. So I'm a little concerned that we're going to uncover more issues as we dive into replacing electrical and those things. So we would like to table this and potentially look at moving forward, maybe in a different location. At this point, we're considering just closing the project and not moving forward with replacing the HVAC to put over $2 million into a 104-year-old building. It's not probably where our money is best spent.
And there were some things we were considering anyways going forward, so that's probably not such a bad idea. We have some other options to consider.
What's that? I'm sorry.
No,
Vance. I was
go
gonna
ahead.
say, what's that assessment gonna look like? What is that? What,
So we had the engineer who was working on the HVAC project put together just kind of a base. If we were to do a 10,000 square foot office, which is what we currently have, the base estimate that they've given us for now is about 4.1 million. Now that wouldn't include the site, because I don't know if we would build on land that we currently own, or if we would be looking for something, you know, close to adjacent to where we're at, but just for kind of budget purposes at this point, you know, at 4.1 million.
But there's a close to 0% chance that when you, I mean, I get it's twice as expensive, and I think tabling this and looking at options is a good idea, mostly because I think there's when there's a 0% chance that when you go in on this HVAC remodel, it stays at 2 million.
Right.
I don't believe that to be the case. There is no way you're going to tear open a 100-plus-year-old building and end up saying, "Oh, we don't have any other problems that have now been distinguished." That defies the realm of possible. So,
And especially if they come across asbestos or anything else, then you get kicked out and it costs another 800,000 to relocate you on a temporary basis. And pretty soon I'd rather look at some different options because we already have some other things we have to consider with respect to the mill, its operations, potential growth. Know that you got a lot more potential business that we could be doing, so we need to consider some things.
Ken, under the current system, are we spending a bunch of money on maintenance? And I mean, that's the downside of this, is you keep dumping. I mean,
It's not terrible. What we have now is just individual units. I think it's the same system that was in the Capitol before. So we have
do we keep the parts for you?
they go out on a regular basis. So we have like 4 or 5 spares. The expense is pulling the old one out and putting the new one in. We have to use an outside contractor for that. So it's not a huge amount of money.
We're not bleeding hundreds of thousands of dollars.
No, 30,000 a year, 30 to 50 maybe.
Until we run out of parts, and then they have to be milled and manufactured.
Oh, for these type of units, I think they're going to be available, but since the system is undersized and doesn't really work, it needs to be addressed. We put the system in one of my first 2 or 3 years, and it was an improvement over the ancient silt system that was on the roof. But the time has come to look at different options for sure.
Okay.
you let us worry about that, Vance.
If I ask, we mean
Don't
you.
worry.
Especially the first year.
For some reason, my office system has been the most reliable system of all of them. So
And mine is not, but I'm moving on to that one, so no.
Coincidence.
yeah, that's the one I wanted to work with. Then we want to talk about our changes to the policies and procedures in the handbooks, and Kathy has headed that up, so I will that up with Kathy.
Yeah, so I'm happy to report we're finally at the end of our handbook updates and some other policy and procedure updates as well. Just to remind you, we undertook going through this process to kind of help strengthen internal controls, enhance transparency, and to ensure that we're aligned with industry best practice. So we are happy to be able to put those handbooks into effect on July 1st, so the start of the fiscal year, and then also the timing with Vance's departure and my taking over. So it aligns very nicely. So we're ready to do that. And most of that was just a modernization and strengthening of the policies. We enhanced a couple of policies as far as like the harassment, threats, and violence language within that, along electronic communication, social media, all of those things that have changed, quite a bit since the handbook had been updated in 2009. So much just modernization. So open to
Jeez.
any
That's
questions with that.
18 years ago, almost 17. Okay. Good.
And multi-plant wise meetings, kick that off tomorrow, and Kathy will be there. And my last plant wide meetings, Kathy's first, so transition to. Sorry. This is other business. Just wanted to give you a quick update on the email building that we're putting in on top of the old AV mill building, original building, and we have some better drawings attached of what the mill will look like inside the AV mill building and the ninth floor. It'll be relatively tight, but it does fit in a nice way. Equipment has been ordered. It's under construction. About the time the mill is finished, the equipment will be arriving, and we still have the plan to complete this project by middle of next summer. So fast track mill. We're going to need the production as we go forward for sure. So I just wanted to give you an update on that. Not a very impressive picture of what the roof looks like there, but all of the steel is on site. I think it'll look like an actual building here in the next month or so.
Does this really upgrade and enhance our dust collection process?
It does. This project adds the email, the dust collection for the A mill and the B mill will be the next phase of it. And that will also allow for increased capacity of the A mill and B mill, that extra floor, extra room on the ninth floor. So that's a project that's yet to come, but this will give us space for it.
Actually, a pretty good picture. Gets into the engineering.
The 3D drawings really help.
Yeah.
There'll be a few changes as we actually put it in, but they can nail it down to exactly what space it's going to go to. Detailed drawings, so it's kind of nice to have.
I'm so impressed that it was constructed originally to withhold that additional structure on top of it.
Yeah,
It's nice thinking that.
it's a heavy duty building. It doesn't sit on piling like a lot of our buildings do, but there's huge footings under there to hold like a massive weight. That's all been engineered out. There's plenty of capacity there to hold extra weight.
You don't have to say,
What's that?
they don't make them like.
They don't make them like they used to.
They over-engineer, and that concrete that they used back in those days, is somehow it's just different. It's super solid concrete.
There's no question about that. The concrete is diminished. Look at back the Capitol here. Stuff's like how many years old? It's completely disintegrating. It's breaking apart.
For your concrete, if you need to get rid of it and break it up and take it out, it's a job. So that's stuff that's really tough. So, but yeah, it's coming along. It's on schedule so far. It'll look like something. So, and other than saying thanks again, that's really all we have.
Oh, we're not done.
Yeah.
We have a resolution of appreciation for you and your 26 years of service, and I'm going to read it because I think it's important.
Appreciate it.
Whereas J. Vance Taylor was appointed President and Chief Executive Officer of the North Dakota Mill and Elevator Association on June 6, 2000, and is the longest serving general manager in the history of the North Dakota Mill. And whereas during his 26-year career with the North Dakota Mill, Vance has led significant growth, expanding the mill size while continuously modernizing and improving its operations. And whereas through his leadership and vision, Vance guided the expansion of the North Dakota Mill by adding 3 new milling units, bringing the total number of units to 10, with a daily capacity of 60,500 hundredweight, making it the largest wheat milling facility in North America. And whereas Vance has applied his extensive knowledge of mill operations to identify and implement efficiencies that increased productivity and performance, creating a history of record-setting profitability. And whereas Vance has decided to retire and devote more time to his wife Brenda, his children and grandchildren, and to enjoy traveling, golfing, and hitting the slopes. Now, therefore, the Industrial Commission hereby expresses its deep gratitude to J. Vance Taylor for his 26 years of dedicated service to the North Dakota Mill and the citizens of North Dakota, and extends its best wishes for a fulfilling and enjoyable retirement. Adopted this 29th day of June, 2026, signed by all three members of the Industrial Commission.
That's really very nice. Thanks for that.
It might be a new adventure every time, but I get to be the
Where do you want me here?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Oh, my guys will get mad. Step out from the flags a little bit. Look at me. Seriously, congratulations.
Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, it has been. Thanks, Doug. Yeah, appreciate it. Yeah. Thanks again to everybody.
Enjoy the rest of the summer too.
Will do. Will do. Yeah, it's a bittersweet moment, but thank you.
5 governors later, you can get yours.
I can all stay for 8 years. Put that out there.
Hopefully we'll stay friends and we'll,
Of course.
see you guys soon.
Of course.
We'll see you soon.
I'll see you next time.
Thank you very much.
You ready?
Yours, appreciate it.
That's right.
Congratulations. Right there, appreciate it. Yeah. Congratulations.
Bill? Cameron?
Bill.
Gentlemen?
Good morning.
They keep on moving?
Yeah.
All right, for the legal update, just a few updates for you gentlemen this morning. The pore space amalgamation lawsuits, as you're aware, we've got 2 different lawsuits going, the facial lawsuit against the statute itself, and then the as-applied challenge against the summit permits. The status of those is the facial challenge, which was decided way back in December. We finally got to a place where we got judgment. It's appealed. There were some procedural wranglings with the plaintiffs trying to stay things further. We asked the court not to do that and allow us to go to judgment or go on appeal as quickly as we could. Court granted our opposition to that, so we plan on filing our brief today. Trying to play out what that looks like. That looks like realistically maybe an argument in September or October, depending on what the court schedule looks like. So that's where that's going. There's still some more procedural wrangling about the timing for the summit brief, but looks like that one's going to follow second to the facial Northwest Landowners Challenge. The DAPL pipeline. So as you're aware, the Corps finished its record of decision permit a few months back. We had the ongoing lawsuit in the DC circuit where they were still trying to shut it down. They've now dismissed that claim, so that litigation is now done. We anticipate there will be another lawsuit to challenge the permit. We haven't seen that yet, but when it comes, North Dakota and several other states, perhaps up to a dozen states, plan on intervening again to defend the continued operation of the pipeline. The next one is the BLM's conservation rule. This was a rule from the Biden administration that converted the non-use of federal lands and resources into a use of them for the FLTMA statute. That was it was challenged in several states, North Dakota, Idaho, and Montana, all filed lawsuit up here in North Dakota. The current administration has now repealed that rule. That repeal rule became effective on June 11th. So we're waiting to see if that repeal rule gets challenged. I'm almost certain that it will be. And our current lawsuit against the prior rule it's in a holding posture till we see if there's going to be litigation against the rule repealing it or not. Next one on the list is the EPA's coal combustion residuals rule. This was another rule from the past administration that for coal combustion residuals, so the byproducts for when coal is used for power generation, that rule did a lot of things that weren't helpful to coal power generation, but one of the most egregious is it would have required essentially reopening many sites that have been closed for decades under state law so that they could be reclosed under federal law. North Dakota and Texas and Wyoming and about a dozen or so more states filed a lawsuit against that one. But current administration has paused that rule and now proposed another rule to significantly amend that rule. So we prepared some comments in support of that proposed modification of the rule. 20 states joined us in that comment, which we plan on filing today as well. And then the last one is just the MATS rule. This is another one of the air emissions coal plant rules that's designed to severely restrict the operation of coal plants. North Dakota led 20-some states in challenging that rule under the Biden administration. The current administration repealed it. That got challenged, and we're also leading 20-some states in intervention and defense of that. And where that sits is we're still waiting on the merits briefing schedule. There's been some procedural wranglings in that docket too.
So we're in perpetual litigation based on what letter is behind the name of the President of the United States. So my real question to this, when you're going through C, D, and E on here, is how much is Loper Bright coming into it now when people are filing? I mean, our current administrator talks about Loper Bright a lot. But I'm wondering if you are seeing it come into this either in the original stuff, which you put on pause until you know if the new one's going to get sued. And it'd be nice if Congress acted. I understand that, but I also spent 6 years there, so.
Well, there are definitely arguments, but I mean, both sides, of course, like every new legal doctrine says it supports them. But yes, it does tend to be a centerpiece of the briefing and how much deference is owed to the agencies.
Is there anything in rule, or probably not in law, but anything in rule or policy that addresses the utilization or augmentation of residuals from a coal-fired generation facility?
Beneficial use of the residuals. Yep, that's a major part of the rule. It's one of the things we commented in support of is the current revisions to the rule is a lot more broad in terms of how it allows discretion for states to recognize beneficial uses of CCR. That was one of our critiques of the prior rule and our support for the new rule is that it's more generous in allowing beneficial use of CCR.
Well, and the fact that the public benefits so greatly, just infrastructure issues and, Okay.
You said we were DAPL.
No one's actually filed?
Not that we've
Against?
seen, not yet. I anticipate it's coming.
I mean, especially when they proposed 1.2 million barrels or 1.1 a day through there, which is good for the United States and energy policy. Okay, thanks.
You know, as we discussed when I was interviewing you for this job some years back, but then all the interviewing years, just going through that list is a bit of a tour de force. We appreciate very much internally in our office, but I know externally also that North Dakota is taking that leadership role on so many of these things because it is the best way to fine tune it specifically to our situations here in North Dakota and the stakeholders, and can't not thank you enough for that because I think it does change outcomes and it enhances the litigation from the perspective of North Dakota in our perspective. So we appreciate that. And thanks for mentioning it as you go through there, the coalitions that you've amassed and are meeting in those regards. My colleagues in several instances have spoken highly of those efforts that you've led, and I appreciate it as Attorney General, but also as a member of this commission. We greatly appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, unless you gentlemen have anything else, that's it for me today.
Perfect. Thanks.
All right.
Your concise
update. Perpetual litigation.
Concise. Yeah. Phil, can't you settle anything?
They don't know what to settle.
That's right.
And the old rule and the new rule, and we're litigating the old rule, and
And it's only 2 years till an election.
So now we're jumping back to attachment 22.
Morning.
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 Oh, yeah, I guess so. So behind tab 22 is a memo regarding the reappointment of PFA Advisory Committee member Keith Lund. Keith has been on the advisory committee for the Public Finance Authority since 2011. He currently serves as chair. He is the president and CEO of the Grand Forks Region Economic Development Corporation, and he brings a lot of expertise related to urban water project issues, and is a big asset to the advisory committee. So his term is about to expire, and it is my recommendation that he be reappointed for another 3-year term extended to July 1st of 2029.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Commissioner,
Yes.
Attorney General,
Yes.
Governor.
Yes.
All right, now water. The first loan is for the city of Tuttle. They've requested $2,497,000. They are eligible for up to $1,873,000 of loan forgiveness. So it was $624,000 towards a $3,252,000 project. They're also receiving $755,000 of CDBG grant funds. They've requested a 30-year loan term. This project is to repair their sanitary sewer collection pipes and replace a lift station. The net revenue bond payment would be $26,000. They would use their sewer user fees to repay this loan. They have 77 sewer connections that pay a quarterly base rate of $45. They intend to raise the quarterly base rate $33 or $11 a month to repay this loan. And based on that information, the advisory committee recommended approval of this loan.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Water's expensive. Roll call.
Commissioner,
Yes.
Attorney General.
Yes.
Governor.
Yes.
Next loan is for the city of Dickinson. They've requested $6 million for a $10.25 million project. They have received $7.7 million of drinking water this year. We're going to provide $4.5 million local funds. This project is to replace cast iron water mains, service lines, and curb stops. They requested a 20-year loan term. They're going to use their city sales tax, their 0.5% of 1% city sales tax dedicated to infrastructure to repay this $352,000 average annual payment loan. And they currently secure 3 drinking water and 4 clean water loans with their city sales tax and have no other bonds pledged to the repayment of, or that are have city sales tax pledged to repayment, and still have sufficient coverage for plenty of excess sales tax available after those drinking water and clean water loans in this new loan. And based on that information, the advisory recommended approval of this loan.
So moved.
Second. Discussion.
It is a sizable project. They're getting a lot done. Good leverage.
Roll call.
Commissioner,
Yes.
Attorney General.
Yes.
Governor.
The next loan is the Walsh Rural Water District, and they are requesting almost $17 million through the drinking water program. They're eligible for $10,558,990 of drinking water loan forgiveness. So their net loan will be $6,395,000. This is a $37 million project. They're also eligible for cost share of through the Department of Water Resources of $11,149,000. Then they're also receiving a EPA Emerging Contaminants in Small and Disadvantaged Communities grant of almost $8.9 million. This is going to be a variety of projects, including increasing the well field capacity at their Fordville Aquifer. They're going to be constructing new water receiving pumping station, some water transmission pipeline, distribution pipeline, and upgrades to the Park River and Grafton water treatment plants. So a lot of different parts and pieces being done for that $37 million. They've requested a 30-year loan term. They're issuing revenue bonds payable with their water user fees. And their net average annual payment will be $271,000. And based on that information, the advisory committee recommended approval of this one.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
Whole business system, do you remember?
That I do not know.
It's, around a little while.
Yes. It's, they don't have a whole lot. They currently have $611,000 debt outstanding, which leads me to believe that, you know, it's a lot of original system, which would have been 70s, 80s probably, and that now they're doing some upgrades to the system.
Which will help with leaks.
Yes. And so the emerging contaminants grants, you have the emerging contaminants have to be on an EPA list, and in North Dakota, the emerging contaminant is manganese. So that's what makes them eligible for these grants, is anything that's got manganese. And so that's what they're dealing with in these water treatment plants. And it's mainly been rural water systems that have had enough manganese that they've had to deal with in the water treatment plants that have made them eligible to receive that funding.
My mom's from the area. She's 90. She's fine. I'm a no.
Great reasoning.
Don't tell her. Don't tell her. No, that's
Roll call.
Commissioner,
Yeah.
Attorney General.
Yep.
Governor.
Yes.
And then we have a memo of 6 loans that were below $2 million that were approved by the advisory committee. There were 3 clean water loans, Belfield, Regent, and Wing, and 3 drinking water loans, Grafton, Jamestown, and Rock Lake. Any of you have any questions on any of those? I'd be happy to attempt to answer them.
Wing and Tuttle are just like Maverick and Goose, right? They just always go together.
I guess so. The CDBG funding that everybody needed to get their loans approved so that they could get their CDBG funds going. That was the big rush.
Any questions on the memo loans, guys?
No.
Anything else?
That's all I have this time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Thanks.
Report the general.
Appreciate it.
EDRC. I know you are, Charlie.
Yes,
I am not Charlie.
Unfortunately, you didn't get his better looking side either.
Drew, we might have you done.
No. Why?
We will not take excessive time, so. Thank you for the opportunity to present for you this morning. First thing I would like to do is to introduce Scott Ayash to you. Going forward, Scott is going to become the director of the State Energy Research Center. I'm retiring from the ERC after 40 years, and I'm sure Karen and Jordan already know. Scott's been the one doing all the work behind the scenes from day one since 2019. So he has really been instrumental to the program and really is what's made it work. So it'll be a very, very seamless transition. I'm looking forward to having him at the helm in the future. So the one project we bring for you before you today is within the State Energy Research Center. We have what we call Task 2 funding. This is funding that we come to the Industrial Commission for approval to spend. We set aside $750,000 every biennium. We have 2 projects that were already approved. We have $250,000 that's remaining that has not been approved. Today, we're asking for that, plus a little bit of the remainder from a previous project. The project is focused on AI. When we think of AI, everybody thinks, okay, AI is this great thing. We want to solve a problem.
I don't think everybody thinks.
Yeah.
that.
No.
Just
Got that.
clear.
All right.
Very good. But they seem to think that it's simple. And that's what we're coming here before you today because it's not simple. I equate it to, I use the analogy of, decided I want to go elk hunting. First thing I have to do is figure out if I have a gun that can go elk hunting. Then I need the optics that can go elk hunting.
And then I need a bullet, for however, this distance I'm going to shoot the ballistics I'm looking for. Even when I have all that together, it's really not of much use unless I go out and sight it in and become proficient with it. And then we have the whole issue of when
I also know a lot of people that disagree with
that
that.
you bring it home, you also have the security and safety of that weapon as well that you have to worry about. And all these things are the same thing with AI. It's not this tool that we just use and it magically does its thing. It's much more complex. And what we're asking for is the funding to build a framework so that we can be better prepared to tackle AI opportunities going forward in the future. We've had a few come our way, and they're so large and so broad that it's very difficult to get our arms around it for an RFP out of DOE. We need to be prepared ahead of time to be able to serve the state of North Dakota. So we're asking for $276,330. The additional $26,330, that's left over from the very first project we did, which was on geothermal. That was not entirely spent, so we'd like to use that remaining money in this as well, and advance this forward.
So when you're building the framework, are you building in firewalls and anticipated opportunities for people to hack it or to manipulate it? I think those are some of the biggest issues. It's an amoral type of situation. I mean, it's like a brick. You can do good things with it. You can do bad things with it. So if you build that framework, will it have that so that we have a level of protection?
Commissioner, that is exactly the idea of the framework, is to create it and be able to hold it in a secure, controlled environment. Many AI systems in this day and age allow data to be transferred through the cloud to the web, becomes public. This will not do that. The whole idea is to construct a system that keeps it contained within a restricted area that only we can use and only we can use for our purposes.
And Department of Defense will be able to have some access to this then and be able to understand that framework and maybe things they should consider going forward.
Yeah, we can hope.
Yeah.
But I think the idea is once we have it all set up, it can be duplicated. We won't. In certain situations, you may use the same framework, but in many situations, you may create a completely separate one, again, from a security standpoint.
Do you have a specific area within ERC you're looking at? Like, is it mapping? Is it geology? Is it geography? I mean, we have these conversations a lot. Like I was thinking driving through Bismarck, I drove all around Bismarck yesterday and my non-scientific brain is, municipalities are using AI for traffic lights. And as I was driving through Bismarck, I was like, they could probably figure out why you don't hit every single red light when you're driving east to west across Bismarck. I mean, when you say AI, I mean, do you know yet? And I mean, AI and energy development is all of it. I'm assuming you will focus on more specific things as you get into it, like where it's beneficial, where it's not really beneficial. I mean, I just think of, we just did a spacing unit with DMR, right? Like Burgum talks about Native American probates with AI, because it's just division.
Yeah. So one of the very first things we're going to do is a study around where AI has been used, which tools have been used for which areas, and then we're going to pick a few. So we're not going to fully implement an AI solution to any one thing, but we're going to tailor it to a few key things as we're putting the framework together, the initial framework.
Because each and every one of these companies is going to start using it too, and a lot of that's going to be proprietary.
Yeah, and I'm certain enhanced oil recovery as a general topic will be a big thrust of it. General.
Yeah.
But like modeling out the cheapest place to put infrastructure in to benefit the most people, like that is an incredibly time-consuming task that actually can get, automized in a pretty significant way.
And along those lines, you got environmental conditions, soil types. You have so many different things that are factors that could affect that infrastructure and energy development.
It's so, I mean, it is so broad, and we've been working in this area in different ways since really the eighties when expert systems came out, which, you know, the predecessor to AI. But they were way more of a black box and way more controlled, of course, than they are today.
Interesting. I started reading a book yesterday, just yesterday, actually.
Their pictures.
Yep. I wish they had a different name because it sounds unserious, but it is serious. It's damn serious. If anyone builds it, we all will die. That's the name of the book. And I wouldn't, that normally I would see a title like that and just sort of dismiss it as some crap. It's really interesting so far. And talking about the need for figuring out what are the curbs going to be on this, because to the commissioner's example, bricks have purpose, good and bad, and it can go beyond the control. It's interesting, and it's something serious for government to be talking about.
Yeah.
That research will be important to keep it compartmentalized to the point that it's beneficial in all of its uses in agriculture and water, what you name it, but it doesn't start to undermine systems. And interesting.
I'll remove the recommendation be used for by the research center to look at everything defined and identified within the study and the research.
Second.
Discussion. Where's the extra money come from specifically?
The geothermal work that we led, Westpac had led that and wrapped that up with a report. So
Okay. Roll call.
Commissioner,
Yes.
Attorney General.
Yes.
Governor.
Thank you very much.
Thanks. Thank you.
And so, what happened to your?
long-term injuries.
Trying to pretend I'm young still.
That's most of our problem. Yeah, thank you.
Darren, you're up.
So the next item.
You told me this was gonna be a long meeting.
Well, then you were gonna be really excited about how early we got done.
Thanks, dude. Yeah, I like that. Under promise, over.
Over deliver. So now we're at tab 31, and this is the memo regarding the salary increases for the agency leaders. This is the 3% salary increase that was approved by the legislature in the 2025 legislative session. 3% went into effect for the first half of the biennium, and now we're at the point of putting the other 3% in effect for the second half of the biennium. So you have those recommendations there. Along with the 3%, I am recommending the equity adjustment for Mr. Detloff at the Housing Finance Agency.
Yeah, he's kind of out of line with where industry is.
He is below the median for the size of the agency based on assets and employees. And this equity adjustment will bring him closer to the median.
So moved.
Yeah, second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Commissioner,
Yes.
Attorney General.
Yes.
Governor.
Yes. Gordon.
Commissioners, good morning. So 2 projects that you previously approved and have updates for you to consider. Probably the first one is on one of Continental COR projects. It was specifically for the Durant pad. As it was approved, and that was in the motion language at the time. As they have began work to clean out some of the wells to be used on this project protection and so forth, they discovered they had some issues.
They want to move on. They just want to move.
They just want to move to the Vandenberg pad. Everything else stays the same. Nathan Anderson, for what it's worth, as a technical advisor, of course, the oil and gas research program, he's on board with it, and so that would be that.
Of course, on that one.
So moved.
Second.
Not for these, but if we do this in the future, is there any benefit to giving them a little more optionality on the front end of this? Right? We don't care. We want Continental, if they're utilizing this, we want them to utilize it where they think it'll work the best. Like I mean, as opposed to being site specific before they. I mean, I'm assuming exactly what happened. They picked a well pad. They went in. They looked at it. They're like, we've got casing issues, or we have different problems, or we have access issues, and they're moving wherever they're moving. Like, I mean, I overly scriptive on some of this stuff. I mean, I guess, I'm hoping. always worry about summer and construction season and delaying this because we only meet once a month as to do some of this.
Yeah, I'll just say that I visited with the general counsel of the commission and he recommended that we should just have a formal approval. This when I was in.
No, I don't disagree with how it was originally written. I think that's incredibly accurate. I'm talking about when we do these grant problems, like even if they give us one of 3 locations. And although I don't know if they'd identified this one anyway. So just something to think about.
That's not a bad idea, because as long as they're not changing the scope of the project.
Yeah.
And they're staying.
What do we
within
care
our
if they're in
parameters.
section 32 or section 12?
Exactly.
Like we don't, I mean, we just don't. Roll call.
Commissioner,
Yes.
General,
Yes.
Yes.
So the next one is the council dedication program. So in the original requests during their application, so their current program for their past contract, you could say it expired March 31st. And so they had requested an effective date of April 1st. Now it was in May that the Lignite Research Council met and then that you approved it. They requested a
Back date.
retroactive
Yeah.
effective date. I didn't put that specific language in the motion that you approved. I should have had that conversation with you. Once they had a request to Zoom, their request to have it, those was no. Yeah.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Commissioner,
Yes.
Attorney General.
Yes.
Yes.
And our last item is 4 sets of minutes. We have the regular May 12th meeting, and then we have 3 sets of meetings related to the hiring of North Carolina.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Commissioner,
Yes.
Attorney General.
Yes.
Governor.
Yes.
That concludes the administrative office business. Our next regular meeting is scheduled for July 23rd at 9 o'clock.
Thanks.
That day actually. You know, there's a lot going on.
As of today, it works.
Meeting is adjourned. Thank you.